I'm Grimgrin and welcome back to Book Club, as we take a brief look at Halo the Fall of Reach, which is not only my favourite Halo novel, but is also one of my favourite science fiction novels in general. Broadly speaking, it is, in general, an origin story for Master Chief, the main character throughout much of the Halo games, and as far as I remember, it follows him from the age of 6 all the way up to moments before the beginning of Halo 1. Now, this is extremely interesting, because as far as the Halo canon goes, that's a very long timeline, which means we get to see the Halo universe in many different stages. We see it before the Covenant's even discovered, and Earth is still a pretty big powerhouse, all the way up to Reach falling, as the name of the novel suggests, which is humanity's last stronghold and military capital excluding Earth. And I feel confident in saying that Reach falls and it not being a spoiler, because it's of course in the title, and also because it's mentioned at the very beginning of Halo 1, and chances are, if you're choosing to read a Halo novel, you've probably played the Halo game. I know that that's the reason I chose to read it, although if you've not played any Halo games at all, and you're just into science fiction, then it's definitely worth a read. The story's not about whether or not Reach will fall, but how it does. It's sort of like if you're watching Troy or the Titanic or 300, you know that Troy falls, you know that the Titanic sinks, and you probably know how the Battle of Thermopylae turns out, but the interesting thing is the journey. And as I said, this journey's very interesting indeed, because the actual Battle of Reach itself is actually a very small portion of the novel, with the entire lead-up following the development and training of the Spartans, and the worsening situation with the Covenant being the bulk of, and probably the more interesting part of the overall novel. Personally, I found the most interesting part being the Spartans first getting their armor, and then first getting their augmentations, because it sort of feels like an origin story, which I always thoroughly enjoy. And probably equally enjoyable, if not more enjoyable, are the space battles, which are given large sections of this novel, and if you enjoy Star Trek, you'll probably enjoy these ones, because there's all sorts of tacticals and back and forths and planning, and it's not just one battleship shot at another battleship until one of them blew up. It goes into details about how Captain Keyes won the battle and them developing the plans, and is really edge of your seat stuff, because if you know your Halo, you know that for the most part, humanity was pretty outgunned, and so it's very much the human underdogs versus the technologically and numerically superior Covenant forces. Now, if you've only played the Halo games and not read any of the novels, fair warning that this has a bit of a weird standing as far as the Halo canon's concerned. It is, technically by rights, canon, although bizarrely Halo Reach the game is also supposedly canon and clashes rather heavily with it in some sections, but Halo the Fall of Reach is by no means entirely forgotten within the Halo canon at all, because in Halo 3 they directly quote the novel, and also of course you see Spartans from this novel in Halo 5. And say exactly how much of the novel is canon as far as the rest of the games are concerned, I don't know. It's all a bit of touch and go when it comes to the Halo universe, much like it was for the Star Wars Legends universe. Now, you might have seen this novel on the shelves in the store, and it might have looked a little bit differently than the cover you're seeing here, and indeed, there are two different versions of the book going around, because this is the original version that came out back in the day, and they have redacted and changed a few things. I know that all of the dates in this version of the novel are wrong by 10 years, and in the new print they fixed that, and they also changed a bunch of the spaceship names to tie in better with canon, but overall, I believe the storyline is exactly the same. As far as if I think you should read it, well, that depends on really where you're coming from. If you're a lover of literature and you're a lover of sci-fi, and you do play Halo or you've not played Halo, then it's definitely worth reading, because it doesn't actually require any knowledge of the game, it builds up all of that knowledge itself, and so as a standalone novel, it definitely holds up well, and is definitely worth reading. In a similar respect, if you've only played Halo 1 through 3, it's also definitely worth reading, because I would say it's a perfect prequel to Halo 1, even more so than Halo Reach, because it's actually following the Master Chief, unlike Halo Reach the game, which is following other characters. However, if you played all of the Halo games, and have previously had no interest in reading the Halo novels, and you have a strong love for Halo Reach, then maybe give the novel a miss, because as I said, there are some strong contradictions, especially in the timeline, that might distract you or annoy you slightly while reading the story. But if discrepancies like that don't concern you, then definitely give it a read. It is, as I said, out of all of the Halo novels I've read, one of my favourites, and I've read a lot of them, and it is by Eric Nyland, who is my favourite author to contribute to the Halo universe. And so with all of that said and done, thanks for watching, and until next time, I have been and still am Grim Grindle. If you personally have read the novel, I would love to hear what you thought about it in the comments, And if you've read more than one Halo novel, I would love to hear which is your favourite. Or even if you just want to mention your favourite science fiction novel in general, leave it in the comment section below.